Welcome back to another episode of Grizzly True Crime. My name is Gisela K, and today we're going to continue looking at the latest documents in the Delphi case. If you've never heard of this case, I would highly recommend checking out the playlist that I've linked in the description box for you. And if you have heard of the case and have kind of been following, I would recommend checking out the deep dive that we recently did, which is also on the playlist, and I've also separately put a link in for you so you can just check that out of what the defense in this case actually filed and why I believe a deep dive was necessary. I'm not on the page of just shrugging off what they're saying as they're just creating reasonable doubt, because there's a lot more to it. And I see I'm not alone in my thinking, because there's law tubers and criminal defense attorneys that are saying something stinks in Delphi. Something is up. This is way more, according to them, than just the defense doing their job. And as we did that deep dive, we did see there was some interesting coincidences, some things to consider. So please do check that out, because this is actually a follow-up from that. That is in my live stream section. So remember, on a YouTube channel, you can see home videos without interruptions. For those of you who are pressed for time and you don't like me, welcoming new members and chatting to the community, because that's what live streams are for. I never know why people come and watch a live stream replay and then say, why are you interrupting the whole time? Well, we're engaging as a community. So if you want to do that, make sure you are subscribed and don't miss out on the next live stream. So you got videos, you got shorts. So check out my YouTube shorts as well. I often do little updates on there when there's kind of just one or two things that I need to update you on a case, because we follow many cases over here. Then of course we've got the live stream tab too, and then there's the community tab, so make sure you check that out as well, because there's lots of updates happening there too, like if they release a mugshot or a new document or something that's not so many pages long. Here we're going to look at 3 documents. This one I won't read in full. I'm going to put all the documents on Patreon. Thank you so much to all the people who have made it over to Patreon. You are an excellent source of support for the work that I do. And there I try to thank you with lots of extra perks and things, behind the scenes footage and updates and all kinds of stuff. So check it out if you are interested. So this case, the Delphi case, I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video, you have heard about it. It's about the murders of Libby German and Abigail Williams, 14 and 13 years old, who were murdered on February 13th of 2017. And while Libby had taken her phone out and had actually gotten a clip of what is known as Bridge Guy, the suspect, walking, then audio of him saying, "Guys, down the hill." There was then a still image released, there were sketches released, all kinds of things. It still took about 5 years to arrest a suspect. And all they seem to have against this guy is an unspent round that was allegedly found between the 2 girls' bodies at a crime scene that the defense has described, and it's so horrifying. It is so scary. I can't imagine what the families are going through with all this information that has just recently been released. So please keep them in mind and be kind to them. So this now would be the defense. So basically the defense filed a memorandum for a motion for a Franks hearing, which we're still to see if Judge Gull is going to grant that Franks hearing or not. This would be how they're expanding on. They left a little something out here. So they're detailing more of why they want that Franks hearing. Then we're going to look at the discovery deadline document as well as a notice. So they are now saying, look, the trial is scheduled for January 8th, so we still need discovery. We need these deadlines to be met to proceed and all of that. So whether the trial will actually start on January 8th, I'm not too sure at this point. I would kind of lean towards a guess of it being delayed, as most trials are, but especially this one. So let's have a look at these latest documents. If you haven't yet, please click subscribe and then click it one more time, because that's the new way to do it, right? You subscribe, hit it again, and click all. And then you'll get all notifications for any videos I upload for you, YouTube shorts, or live streams in case you do want to join in on those chats. So let's get started. note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. So this supplemental motion for a Franks hearing was filed on the 2nd of October 2023 by Richard M. Allen, the suspect's defense team. They say comes now the accused Richard M. Allen, by and through counsel Andrew J. Baldwin and Bradley A. Rosie, and having previously filed his motion for a Franks hearing on the 18th of September 2023, now files a supplemental motion which includes a more detailed analysis of the legal standards associated with the Franks process. In support of said supplemental motion, Defendant Allen states as follows, that on the 18th day of September 2023, Defendant Allen filed his motion for a Franks hearing. In paragraph 8 of said motion, Defendant Allen made general references to the preliminary showing required prior to the admission of Franks evidence at a suppression hearing. However, Defendant Allen now realizes that he did not articulate in detail the actual burden of proof associated with said preliminary showing. Now remember, I am not a lawyer, okay, so I feel like the rest of this document is very heavy legalese, and basically what they're doing here from my understanding and from watching a lot of law tubers is this would be like, whoops, they forgot to add in a few things to really motivate legally why they are requesting a Franks hearing. As I say, I'll put this document on Patreon if you are interested in reading through the whole thing, but basically they're making examples of other cases, to supplement their request for a Franks hearing. I'd be very eager to see if Judge Goll will actually grant this Franks hearing, and if so, whoa, the defense is fighting for cameras in the courtroom. Imagine if they have cameras in the courtroom at that point, what on earth all we'll hear. Okay, so now I'm going to show you this document, which is the motion for discovery deadline. It's fairly interesting, this one. This was filed also on the 2nd of October of 2023. It says at the top there we go. I've expanded it for you. State of Indiana, County of Carroll versus Richard M. Allen. Motion for discovery deadline. Comes now the defendant Richard M. Allen by counsel Bradley A. Rosie and Andrew J. Baldwin, and respectfully requests this court set a discovery deadline in this cause. In support of said motion, defendant Allen states as follows. On October 28th of 2022, the state filed an information alleging the defendant, Richard Allen, committed 2 acts of felony murder. 2. The jury trial in this cause is set to commence on January 8th of 2024. You guys know how much time flies? Before we know it, it's going to be January. We've only got 3 months left of the year. We're already in October. Can you believe it? Number 3. Throughout this proceeding, the defense has received discovery in the form of external hard drives, thumb drives, disks, and written documentation. The defense has picked up said discovery usually within a day, but no more than 2 weeks of the discovery being made available. 4. Said discovery was provided by the prosecutor to the defense on the following dates, all of which are memorialized in acknowledgement or receipts executed by the defense and or the defense representatives on the following dates. Then they list the dates, which I'm sure I don't have to read out. You can read it yourself right there. You can see the dates starting from December 7th, 2022. And then the receipts, right? Totaling, okay, let's just go there. The first one, they say totaling 16 hard drives, 4 flash drives, and 1 disk. I'm sure there's a lot of information on there, my word. And then the discovery received totaling 14 hard drives, 5 flash drives, and 3 disks. The state of Indiana has indicated to the defense that the more recent discovery it has provided, September 8th to September 27th of 2023, may contain some discovery that the defense has already received. If that is accurate, from reviewing the state's itemization of newly discovered evidence, the defense believes that very little of the new discovery has been previously discovered. Number 6. However, the defense has had very little time to compare the new discovery dumps of 14 hard drives, 5 flash drives, and 3 disks received on or after September 8th, 2023, with the older discovery received before September 8th of 2023. So you could see the tone. It feels like, oh, the next thing you're going to ask for is a delay, right? Okay, the defense conducted the first round of depositions in this matter in early August of 2023. The defense anticipates conducting at least 30 to 40 additional depositions between now and the trial date, but has been reluctant to set additional depositions until it is confident that it has received all of the discovery and also until it has had a chance to review the vast amounts of newly discovered evidence received on and after September 8th of 2023. Number 8. The September 8th, September 18th, September 21st, and September 27th, 2023 receipts referenced above contained in part discovery that was generated by the state of Indiana after the defense conducted its initial round of depositions. 9. It was during this initial round of depositions that the state of Indiana and Unified Command learned that the defense was aware of law enforcement lack of investigation and focus on certain suspects related to Odinism as detailed in the defense's recent Franks filing. 10. Some of the recent discovery that the state of Indiana has provided is directly related to the Odinism aspects of the case, but was only turned over to the defense after the state of Indiana was aware that the defense was cognizant of the Odinism aspects of the case. 11. The missing Odinite evidence that was finally turned over by the state of Indiana following the first round of depositions includes, but is not limited to, and again, they didn't redact this document at all, so I've redacted it as much as possible so that we're not naming names of who the defense believes the suspects are, because these people are not named as any official suspects. They're not actually linked to the case or anything like that, so let's be very careful with that, okay? So if you're going to say anything about the people from the memorandum for the Franks hearing, make sure you use initials. So here they say A, multiple interviews of, which the defense has reviewed and contains exculpatory evidence that supports the defense's theory of Richard's innocence. Now that first one I redacted, that guy allegedly said, if my spit is found on the girl and I can explain it away, will I still be in trouble? So that's a very concerning question. B, multiple interviews of, which the defense has reviewed and contains exculpatory evidence that supports the defense's theory of Richard's innocence. C, an interview of, which the defense has reviewed and contains exculpatory evidence that supports the defense's theory of Richard's innocence. D, a letter from former Rushville investigator Todd Click, which is exculpatory in nature in that it provides the name of an investigator who believes that the evidence strongly supports that certain suspects in Delphi, Logansport, and Rushville committed the murders. This is a letter that the state of Indiana has had in its possession since May 1st, 2023, but only turned over to the defense once the state of Indiana knew that it was only a matter of time before the defense would learn of its existence. Now, if you guys remember the name Todd Click, then shortly after that memorandum for a Franks motion came out, then there's a podcast that actually interviewed Todd Click, and they put out this one-liner statement where Todd Click said that the defense is twisting facts for sensationalism. But let me show you the full context, which was released later on the same podcast. The whole interview was later released, and what Todd Click says there is quite interesting. Okay, so this is from Reddit, so take it with a pinch or grain of salt. For those that insist it's a grain, please travel the world and just know that people all over the world say it differently, right? It's a pinch, it's a grain in other places, it's a knippy salt, whatever it is, you know what I mean, right? So, Todd Click's full comments to the murder sheet. Click. There are two things that I would like to clear up immediately, though. Detective Ferenczi and Detective Murphy were not Rushville cops. Detective Ferenczi was a detective from the Terre Haute Police Department that was assigned to the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force. Detective Murphy was an Indiana State Police detective that was also assigned to the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force. So, the FBI was associated with the investigation until at least July of 2021. Secondly, no one in law enforcement believes that Abby and Libby were killed in a ritual sacrifice. That is the defense twisting facts for sensationalism. You can quote me on those two items. Murder Sheet says, some people have suggested that while you disagree with the defense that this was a ritual murder, that you have agreement with them on who's responsible. Is that something you can speak to? And he said, yes, that is accurate. Then they said, other than the material about the cult angle, can you discuss how good a job the defense did discussing the evidence against their suspects? And Click said, it would be impossible for me to explain anything further without revealing the details of the investigation, but it was fairly accurate. Then they said, since their discussion of the evidence was fairly accurate, can you explain what aspects you feel were sensationalized? And Click said, like I said before, it would be impossible for me to explain anything further without compromising details of the investigation. The defense team seemingly put Ferenczi, Murphy, and I on a pedestal. We did nothing extraordinary. We did our jobs and followed every lead that we had. We conducted our investigation the way investigations need to be completed. Granted, we were very dedicated to this investigation because the families of Abby and Libby and the community of Delphi deserve justice. As for the allegations against the correctional officers and Sheriff Liggett, I don't have any knowledge of those details, so I cannot comment. I will also say for the record, I fully support the defense's motion for cameras in the courtroom for transparency purposes. So there's quite a buzz on Reddit and on social media about that, because when they said, some people have suggested that while you disagree with the defense that this was a ritual murder, that you have agreement with them on who is responsible. Is that something you can speak to? And he said, yes, that's accurate. I mean, that's interesting. Did he for a second think that they were asking if you agree with the prosecution? Or does he actually agree with the defense on who they think is responsible? Because that's interesting, if so. Okay, so to continue on here, E, a report roughly 85 pages in length that has been reviewed and contains exculpatory evidence that supports the defense theory of Richard's innocence. I look forward to the day we can see that document. F, several search warrants signed by judges in Marion County pertaining to certain internet and phone records, including, and this is obviously not Richard Allen, listen to this, at least one unknown person who admitted to killing the girls, even providing details unknown to the general public of the crime scene, such as the fact that he used a knife in a way consistent with the manner of death, and also claiming that he used a gun but never fired it. 12. Having only had a chance to barely touch the surface of the vast amounts of newly discovered evidence the defense has received in the last 24 days, it is hard to know what other exculpatory evidence may be found in 14 hard drives, 5 thumb drives, 3 disks, as well as the paperwork that was also provided since September 8th of 2023. 13. In addition to the vast amounts of newly discovered evidence that has been in the hands of law enforcement and the prosecutor's office for over 10 months since the defense entered their appearances, the defense has also received certain new evidence that was only recently produced, including. Now, this is again naming names, so I've redacted it, but they asked for this in the previous memorandum for Frank's motion. They were saying, we don't have this yet, and we don't have this, and I was like, I wonder if they're ever going to get that. And here they say, a new audio file in which BH was interviewed by state police in August of 2023, a new audio file in which somebody else was interviewed in August of 2023, that would be that person's friend, a new audio file of who was interviewed in August of 2023, and a new audio file in which they were interviewed on September 9th of 2023. All interesting dates. They were interviewed when now? So a new audio file in which they were interviewed by state police in August of 2023? Why are they interviewing those people in August and September of 2023 if this is all just BS by the defense? I don't know, man. Anyway, so they say this is believed to be, okay, this is believed to be the mystery Purdue professor described in the Franks memorandum. The state of Indiana was apparently aware of his existence since September 9th of 2023, but did not inform the defense of his existence until the defense found his name in a September 27th, 2023 evidence dump. That is interesting, because the state was kind of saying, they don't know who that guy is, I don't know. Who knows who that Purdue professor was? So we were like, who's this mystery Purdue professor? 14. Between the vast amounts of old discovery that has been in the hands of law enforcement for over 10 months, including exculpatory evidence that supports the defense theory of Richard's innocence, as well as the Todd Click letter that had been in the hands of the prosecutor since May 1st of 2023, a letter that led to the exculpatory evidence that supports the defense theory that Richard is innocent, the defense is concerned that there will be a continual drip of evidence, much which could be exculpatory in nature unless a discovery deadline is set by the court. 15. Of course, the defense is not seeking a discovery deadline on any exculpatory evidence, as the state of Indiana has a continuing obligation to provide exculpatory evidence to the defense when it, the state of Indiana, is aware that it possesses exculpatory evidence. 16. The defense is requesting that the prosecution produce all evidence, in its possession immediately, and also that the court set a November 1st, 2023 deadline to do so. Additionally, based upon the state's recent discovery of new evidence, such as the August 2023 such and such interviews, it is the defense's view that following the defense team's first round of depositions, that the state has reopened its investigation. It's interesting. Why are they re-interviewing those people who the defense named if there's nothing to it? Unless I'm understanding this incorrectly. But I keep thinking, is that a typo? Like, are they really interviewing those people again? Now, in August and September of 2023? It's getting interesting. So, while Defendant Allen takes no exception with the state reopening its investigation, directing its focus on other suspects in this case, Defendant Allen desires that there be some end to the offering up of new information, as well as parameters as to when and how the state of Indiana should turn over new evidence stemming from the reopened investigation into the Odinism aspect of the case, or any other aspect of the case that is still being investigated. 18. Pursuant to LR 08CR 0018, Defendant Allen acknowledges his responsibility to seek out full discovery under terms of the standing order on discovery. In this respect, and to conform with the local rule, Defendant Allen directed to Carroll County Prosecutor Nicholas McClelland additional requests for discovery on the following dates. Letter dated August 22nd, 2023, and letter dated August 28th of 2023. 19. Defendant Allen believes he has received a portion of the discovery requested in the above referenced letters. 20. However, to the best of Defendant Allen's knowledge, he has still not received the following discovery that has been requested upon the state, and are particularly important as they may very well contain exculpatory evidence that will support the defense's theories of who actually murdered the girls. Redacted audio or videotaped interview from February 17th, 2017. Conducted, but now they've got very specific details, and that would be one of the 5 people named previously, right? February 17th, I mean, the girls' bodies were discovered on February 14th. So everyone was all like, whoa, they went to Ken Klein's house, within 2 weeks. But this is within days. They were interviewing this guy. But anyway, so they say conducted by S.A. Adam Paul and Hammond Police Officer Christopher Guti. The body of the report concerning the interview states the following. The below is an interview summary. It's not intended to be a verbatim account and does not memorialize all statements made during the interview. Communications by all the parties in the interview room were electronically recorded. The recording captures the actual words spoken, emphasis added. The defense requests the recording so that it can utilize all actual words spoken by at his interview. B. Additionally, in his August 2023 interview, they interviewed this guy 3 days after the girls' bodies were found, and then again in August 2023. Okay, moving on. They discuss a second interview with law enforcement that took place years ago. The defense requests all reports and recordings of that interview. Totally fair. Please hand it over to them. Sure, okay, and then they say they were interviewed on February 19th, 2017 by the same law enforcement officers that interviewed that first person 2 days earlier. The defense has not been provided any electronic recording of that interview. D. A report believed to be authored by Purdue Professor, and there they found him, Jeffrey Turco. Defense has not found this report in any of the newest discovery. E. Police reports related to reporting her brother's confession. That's the guy who said if my spit was found on the girls, in person in Carroll County sometime in February or March of 2017. 21. The state of Indiana has indicated that it has not been able to locate items A, B, C, and E in paragraph 20. The state has previously indicated it could not locate the Purdue Professor or any reports that he had authored, although that may have recently changed. 22. At the time of this filing, The trial in this cause is just over 3 months away. Defendant Allen understands that there will likely exist additional discovery in the form of audio and video surrounding the defendant's detention circumstances, which will continue to be requested and presumably disclosed in the event that this honorable court takes no action of Defendant Allen's recent motion for immediate transfer. However, Defendant Allen requests that the state of Indiana be required to offer up the totality of all other discovery no later than 30 days from the date of this request. 23. Without a firm discovery deadline, it is impossible to expect Defendant Allen to be fully prepared for trial, as it is difficult, if not impossible, to conduct depositions and to engage in pre-trial hearings, such as suppression hearings and hearings on motions in limine, without the totality of all discovery in this cause being provided to the defense. 24. Trial Rule 26B provides that the defense may obtain discovery regarding any matter not privileged which is relevant to the subject matter involved in the pending action, whether it relates to the claim or defense of the party seeking discovery, or the claim or defense of any other party, including the existence, description, nature, custody, condition, and location of any books, documents, or other tangible things, and the identity and location of persons having knowledge of any discoverable matter. 25. This investigation has been ongoing for more than 6 years, again with the understanding that there may be some additional discovery related to Defendant Allen's detention circumstances. There's no reason why the defense should be receiving discovery that has been in the hands of law enforcement and which continues to be quite voluminous at this late stage in the proceedings. The need for a discovery deadline exists. We can agree, right? If the trial's supposed to start in January, everybody better be prepared. We want a fair trial. We want the right person to be held accountable. So, person or persons, right? And so, yeah, I like the deadlines. Wherefore, the defense counsel respectfully requests that the court set a discovery deadline no later than November 1st of 2023, as defense counsel believes that the said deadline is necessary, 1, to promote Defendant Allen's constitutional due process rights to be confronted and presented with all evidence concerning the pending allegations, and 2, to promote the need for judicial economy as the trial in this case draws near, and 3, to permit the Defendant Allen and his attorneys to be fully informed as they engage in further depositions and pretrial matters in this cause. Respectfully submitted, Bradley A. Rosie. Look at that signature. Look at their signatures, my word. Andrew J. Baldwin. Okay, so that's what we have there. We made it through all 8 pages of that. And then we've got 4 more pages here where they say the state of Indiana, County of Carroll, versus Richard M. Allen. This was filed on the 3rd of October of 2023. Defendant's additional Franks notice. Comes now the accused Richard Allen by and through counsel Andrew Baldwin and Brad Rosie, and files the following additional information to supplement the Franks motion and memorandum previously filed with the court on October 18th, 2023 in support of said notice. The defense states the following: that on September 18th, 2023, the defense filed its motion for a Franks hearing as well as a memorandum in support of said motion. 2, that since filing that motion, the defense has received new discovery that strongly supports the defense's belief that Tony Liggett and Unified Command attempted to conceal from Judge Diener, and has since even attempted to hide from the defense, that evidence supports that those practicing Odinism were the murderers of Abby and Libby. 3. Specifically, Tony Liggett swore under oath at his August 8th, 2023 deposition that a Purdue professor did not believe that the sticks found on Abby's and Libby's bodies consisted of runes. Furthermore, Sergeant Jerry Holman swore under oath at his August 10th of 2023 deposition that a Purdue professor said that the sticks found on the girls did not represent Odinism or any type of cult worshipping or any type of a group that would have conducted the crime. 5. Because of the findings of this Purdue professor, the Unified Command claimed to have essentially abandoned the Odinism aspect of the investigation into the murders of Abby and Libby. 6. In response to the defense's request to depose this Purdue professor, on September 6th of 2023, the prosecutor, Nick McClellan, told the defense via email, "As stated before, we are trying to identify the Purdue professor, but no luck yet. Detective Holman has reached out to the FBI and Purdue and has not gotten a response yet. We will continue our endeavors, but may not be able to identify him or her." 7. However, on September 19th of 2023, the day after the Franks memorandum was filed, interesting timing, where it was revealed that the Purdue professor was missing, miraculously, Jerry Holman found a professor whose name is Jeffrey Turco and interviewed him. Okay then. 8. However, in the interview, Jerry Holman apologized to Turco for the 3 to 4 weeks that it took him, Holman, to sit down and talk with Turco. 9. This means that Holman was aware of the Purdue professor's identity since mid to late August, but nonetheless told Nick McClellan that Unified Command could not locate the Purdue professor, and furthermore, that they may not ever be able to find the Purdue professor. Ooh, that sounds hectic. Number 10. However, after it was obvious that the Purdue professor would probably out himself as the missing Purdue professor following the Franks memorandum, Holman went and interviewed the Purdue professor the day after the Franks memorandum was filed. 11. Why would Holman and the Unified Command try to hide the name of the Purdue professor, even risking ridicule for the absurdity that they could not remember his name? The answer is obvious once the taped statement was played. A. Dr. Turco stated that after viewing the pattern of the sticks on the girls that it was a given that someone was trying to replicate a Germanic runic script. So we have speculated that before. What if someone is trying to replicate Odinism? You know, because, well, I was saying either it's a bunch of jackasses that were like, this is how we do it, because runes are not normally, depending on which angle we're looking at, but like they're not normally done like that. But okay, we were saying, what if it's people that just hijacked Odinism for their own purposes, or what if someone tried to make it look like Odinists were involved? You know what I mean? Okay, so B. Furthermore, Dr. Turco consulted with a colleague from Harvard who had even more knowledge on runes, and this Harvard professor was in agreement with Turco. C. Furthermore, Dr. Turco stated that Odinism is an extreme neo-pagan, neo-heathenism ideology that has right-wing racist connotations. D. Furthermore, Dr. Turco stated that according to 19th century sources that Vikings practiced ritual killings and sacrifices. E. Furthermore, Dr. Turco stated that although he could not necessarily interpret these runes, that the stick configurations were pretty clearly runic, and that he could certainly imagine that this was somebody's idea, that when you do human sacrifice, you carve runes. There are some poetic sources that would sort of support that idea that somebody might have come across. That scenario seems entirely plausible to me. Turco's taped statement, and they even give timestamps over there, 15 to 1550. Okay. F. Further, Dr. Turco discussed how runes were thought to have magical significance and would be used in incantations, in rituals, and that there is a sacrificial connection in mythological poetry. These were things, again, with somebody who was sort of an Odin fanboy would likely come across. And of the 5 names that the defense named, there were some, you could just look at their Facebook pages. We're not gonna together here because we're not naming names and ruining lives, but they did show them, and we did our own personal deep dives. All of you emailed me. Yes, I did a deep dive myself, and I'm like, well, those were certainly, you can't deny that. It's not like it doesn't exist. Those are Odinists, and they are fanboys of it and making runes on the weekend type thing. You know what I mean? So anyway, so they say Turco's tape statement again with a timestamp. 12. That on September 8th, September 18th, September 21st, September 27th, 2023, the state of Indiana made available to the defense a total of 14 hard drives, 5 flash drives, 3 disks, and what appear to be hundreds of pages of paperwork. 13. Particularly contained in the state of Indiana's September 27, 2023 evidence drop was a thumb drive that contained an interview of a Jeffrey Turco, not marked as Purdue Professor. 14. It seems apparent by the timing of events that Tony Liggett and Unified Command knew the Purdue Professor's name and wanted to hide his name and his findings from the defense, as Turco's conclusions supported the defense and opposed prosecution and Liggett's and Holman's sworn statements. Therefore, apparently in what seems like a complete harebrained scheme, Holman and Liggett decided to claim that they did not know the professor's name, hoping that this would put an end to the defense looking into the Purdue Professor. However, once the memorandum made it clear that the Purdue Professor would certainly be found at some point in time, it took Holman 1 day to locate Dr. Turco and interview him about his findings of 2017. It's a little sus, okay? 15. Again, Franks requires a preliminary finding that law enforcement has acted intentionally or with reckless disregard for the truth when being accused of concealing evidence from the judge who signed the warrant. It would be difficult to find a more outrageous set of facts to support that Liggett and the Unified Command intentionally concealed the Odinite information from Judge Diener. If Liggett and Unified Command were willing to try to get away with concealing a Purdue Professor from defense counsel, then it's easy to see that they would have no problem concealing all the evidence detailed in the Franks memorandum from Judge Diener as well. And of course, Judge Diener recused himself, which just adds to it, right? Wherefore, defense counsel respectfully files his additional Franks notice and would request that this court factor in this new filing into its ruling on the defense request for a Franks hearing. So, those are the latest documents. I find them quite interesting. How about you? Leave your comments below. Looking forward to reading those. We will continue to keep an eye on the developments in this case. So far, the trial is set to begin with jury selection on January 8th of 2024. So let's see if that happens. Let's see what happens next. I'm very interested to see if this Franks hearing will happen and what's going to come out of it. As many attorneys have said, something stinks in Delphi. Something's going on there. This is a little bit odd, not the usual. So let's keep an eye on that. And I'll keep you posted. If you want to follow this case along with me and the community or any other cases, make sure that you are subscribed. Hit it again. Click all so that you get all notifications. If you want reliable notifications, Patreon is the place to be. And it actually is the place to be for many reasons. So go check it out. And other than that, I will see you in the next one. Stay safe.